Previously on Points of No Return.
Hey there, your resident amateur professional scientist Stefan here, kicking off my attempt to objectively rank every video game ever made. If you want details on the methodology or to check the current standings, check out the link to the article below. Let's go ahead and see where that falls on the bracket, paired up with Bully Scholarship Edition.
Alrighty folks, DJ Scientist Stefan back with Bully Scholarship Edition. I actually have some pretty fond memories of this game from when it came out back in the day. Of course, I wasn't yet a self-trained scientist back then, so take that with a grain of salt. Bully was originally released way back in 2006 for the PlayStation 2, and later ported to pretty much everything including PCs and even smartphones, which is pretty wild when you think about it. It's actually made by Rockstar Vancouver, who went on to make Max Payne 3, which will appear in this series sometime in the future. Their parent company, Rockstar, is famous for making the Grand Theft Auto games. In fact, Bully can be summarized as Grand Theft Auto, but scaled down to a boarding school in the small surrounding town, and with the sex and murder replaced with smooches and kicking people repeatedly on the ground.
Out of my way! Can't you see he's gonna kick my butt?
You play as Jimmy Hopkins, a tough kid who's been expelled from several schools before landing at Bulworth Academy. The school is filled with stereotypical cliques that each hold their own opinions of you that can be influenced through your actions. Hand out compliments and you might find some new friends. Talk shit and, well...
You're gonna wish you were to
Let's get to it. A big old school to explore in. Well, it crashed. As it turns out, this PC version of the game is actually pretty notorious for being botched. Luckily, if you download some shady files off a random dude's Steam review, the game can more or less be fixed. Once you do have it running though, it runs pretty well. It was designed well at the time and it's still fun today. The core loop, characters, and story are all engaging enough, and honestly, other than a few things that could stand to be modernized, like the controls and camera, the only major flaw is the horrible sound mixing.
But all anyone cares about is who will be paralyzed.
HE is helium, NE is neon, AR is argon, KR is krypton, XE is xenon, RN is radon. These are...
It sounds like a dozen people randomly yelling into the wind. The music is also incredibly loud over top everything else. I turned it down as much as possible without turning it off completely, and it didn't really change anything. I'm not convinced that the volume slider isn't entirely cosmetic and non-functional.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Even with these flaws, Bully is worth more than an hour of your time. I actually wanted to keep playing at the end of my testing period, which is probably about the strongest result a game can get. Bully easily takes the #1 spot on our list. Now for a last bit of housekeeping, let's spin up the randomizer and find out our next pair of games. Next up is Dark Souls 3 and Stealth Inc. 2.